Hey everyone, Anne here. Today I'm going to be giving the Soulmate Twin Flame Oracle reading for the week. I'm going to explain a little bit first about Mercury Retrograde. As many of you are aware, we're in Mercury Retrograde. It's actually a time when it combines with Venus retrograde, like I explained last week. And for those of you that don't know anything about Mercury retrograde, I'll give you a brief description with it, what it represents. It's actually a planet that represents communications, anything to do with, any kind of devices, anything to do with bringing out media. And basically what it does is it kind of like goes backwards. And when Mercury retrograde goes backwards, it happens about 3 to 4 times a year. Things sort of like go a little, I'm not going to say crazy, but you'll know that it's Mercury retrograde. Communication devices won't be working. It's a good time to finish old projects that have been sitting. Also, you want to go back and, back up all your data, back up everything you have on your computer, everything you have, back up your pictures, back up everything, because you never know with Mercury retrograde. I've had this happen to me before, and I've heard of horror stories with people having things happen. Now, when it comes to love, Mercury retrograde can bring out, well, it's not so much that they bring out negative vibes, but they tend to say things that can be like offensive or extreme, because you're going into like past wounds. So if you have loved ones that sometimes lash out on you during Mercury retrograde, try your best not to feed the fire, because if you give into it, it's just going to be like a big mess. That's another thing. Also, if you're apart from someone that you care about, someone that you haven't seen in years, this is a time that usually they come back. It's a time when I see a lot of twin flames reunite during Mercury retrograde. It's interesting. So it can be good and it can be bad. It's best to use it at your advantage. I like to mark it down, and I have like certain projects that I do during only the retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and this is a time that I know I'm going to get it done. Otherwise, it just sits there. So for certain things, you can learn to use it at your advantage, and there's certain things that you have to be really careful of. So watching what you say, watching what you do, and also most importantly, back it all up, because you never know when something is just going to trigger a crash, or it's also another thing. Don't really get into any kind of like new business during Mercury retrograde, unless it's a new business that you've already have been waiting for. Like something maybe like 5 months ago was always supposed to come in. It'll come in during Mercury retrograde, so it's a good time to sign that contract and make that agreement during retrograde. But don't go buying like new equipment or starting a whole new business venture, because it may go a little, maybe not what you had planned, and maybe a little bit of a struggle, and you may not finish it. You may just quit. So I'd rather have you complete things after the retrograde, which will be on May 3rd. So it starts on April 9th, and it ends on May 3rd. It's a little bit longer of a retrograde. Okay, so let's go into the reading because of it. Okay, today I've laid out 5 cards. I felt like there was more messages that were coming through. I used the Energy Oracle Energy cards by Sandra and Taylor. Not sure if you can see it with the light coming through. These are beautiful cards. It really gives me a lot of deep insight and energy whenever I use these cards. It's one of my go-to card decks that I use. Okay, so I've asked the angels to give us guidance and what we need to know in order to find direction during this time. And this is the card that came up first. Storm warning. Okay, and as you can see, this card, it's a time, it's a troubling time. It's the, a tornado is hit. It's a time when we usually jump in the cellar or, run for cover whenever something like this happens. Basically what it represents is a lot to do in your life. You may feel like everything is slowly coming apart. Like, you know, the way a tornado hits, it takes apart everything little by little. It works up its strength, and before you know it, you know, it's just, everything feels like it's a disaster. But you know what? That's because of something that you're working in your mind, and it has a lot to do with what I talked about with the Mercury retrograde, because when we tend to relive something from our past, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, something big. It could be something, you know, very minor, and it's like a trigger point that actually triggers something off inside of us that we didn't even realize that it was there, and automatically we just start applying it to our current situation, to our current life. You wonder, is this something that's going to happen again? And it's like, you're kind of like burnt out in a way. You know, you're kind of like looking at it in a sense that you didn't get what you wanted, so automatically you're going to just throw in the towel and just forget about it. And you know what? That's not the case here. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to follow in to what your spirit is telling you, what your guides are telling you. You know, you're getting a message, and this is the message that's meant for you. Don't do it. Don't run away from something that you're scared from. Try to fix it. Try to see some type of answer, some type of solution to this problem, because you know what? Problems will always come. Fear is something that we live with. It's like a fear-based energy that you are constantly battling. You can't just throw everything away. I mean, yes, you can run for cover for a little while, but you know what? Just like this tornado, you know, this tornado is not going to happen all the time. I mean, it's not going to stay there. It may cause a little, you know, the funnel cloud is causing a little damage and maybe a lot of damage and discard, but you got the meaning. You know, it's not necessarily meaning that this is going to be your whole life. This is just part of, you know, life. It's part of your process, something that you need to understand, that your life is important. You are a priority. You can't look at, you know, running away from the problem, but actually fixing it. Okay, the next card. Anxiety. Now, you know what? That's interesting, because, you know, there's a lot of energy where people work up this anxiety, and it could come from a storm warning. Yeah, I mean, you start putting on that TV and you start watching, you know, anything. I mean, I'm not going into, you know, what to watch and what not to watch, obviously, but you start like thinking, and fear sets in. And then once that fear sets in, you know what? You have a full-blown anxiety attack. And you know what? That's why you have to control it. The sense of controlling your mind, not to allow it to go through that that place where, you know your trigger point. You know what, you know, brings on that stressful energy, and you don't like it. And, you know, none of us do. You know, and that's when you have to get, you know, if you're feeling something, you know, that you can't control, then you seek medical assistance, obviously. But you can't just run away from it, you know, and that's what she's telling you. She's got anxiety, but you know what? She needs to like look up. She needs to just look around her, because her life isn't as extreme. If she continues to dream and think and analyze, yeah, it's going to get more intense, and it's going to get worse. Something that you have to control, that trigger point that you know that is going to create an anxiety attack, and you have to just let it all go. Don't allow it to take over or overwhelm you. Okay, let's go to the next card. Hostilities. Yes, you know, being hostile, being in the sense that you're, you know, not getting what you want, and, you know, getting very hostile. A lot of people too that, you know, can create this hostility. You know, you have, you know, anxiety sometimes, and you have, you know, like things that seem to be creating a lot of negativity. And, you know, due to Mercury retrograde, a lot of us experience this to a higher level. You have to remember that you're the one that is in control. You're the one that gives the love. You're the one that receives the love from the divine. But if you're not allowing it to come through, you're going to be hostile, and you're going to be, you know, attracting, you know, people who are hostile. And this is something very important to remember, that, you know, he's running, he's looking, but he's also, you know, he's he's looking out for himself, which is important, but he's not looking at what is truly, around him. He is just set on one sight and one sight only. She is not looking up. She is not opening herself. She's not realizing. So this is going to create this negative energy, this negative boundaries that you're feeling with someone. And like I said before, you have to let go of that anxiety. There could be something that your twin is feeling at the same time. You both are, embracing, a hostile energy. So this is why releasing, not allowing it to take over, and just let go. Okay, so let's go to the next card. Caring connections. Okay, this is exactly what I talked about with Mercury retrograde, and I'm glad it came up. The spiritual connections that you have with people from your past, they unite. They come together. This is a caring connection with someone that you love, someone that you adore, someone that you haven't spoken with. This is when the energy just embraces, and it just, it manifests in your life. So this is a good time to, to allow people to come into your life. Don't be resistant if you hear from someone that maybe you had a little falling out with, maybe that person that you had a relationship with, it didn't go as well as you wanted to, and you felt like this person is just, very hostile energy. You really want to look at, who is this person and what does this person mean to me in my life? We are all the same, and you know what? We all have faults and we all change. Maybe it's a season that person really wasn't what you wanted at that time, and that person didn't deliver. But that person can come back into your life, and usually happens during Mercury retrograde. They unite, they come together. I mean, if you're like dead set that this is not going to ever happen, and putting out that barrier up that you're not going to find true happiness with anyone, you're actually blocking off a lot of people. You have resentment in your heart. How are you going to find love? How are you going to find that one true partner to come into your life, your soulmate, your twin flame, somebody that is a compatible type of energy with you, someone that is a divine partner? How do you find this person? If you close off that door cannot be open, because no one is going to come in and break down this door. Remember that. You have to be the source to let down your guard and, allow this person to come into your life. So those of you who are still seeking and looking and finding no luck with love, you know what? Love is right around the corner, but you have to allow it to come through, because Mercury retrograde is something that, like I said before about people uniting with their twin flame. Well, this is a time when that was long overdue with loving somebody and having somebody in your life, meeting that perfect partner in your life, that true soulmate, the twin flame that is meant to come into your life. Well, guess what? This is the time that they unite. And for people who just are searching, keep your energy up with all of this. You will find that person, but you're never going to find this person, like I said, until you open that door. Okay, so let's go to the next card. Patience. Yes, patience. Patience, a very strong virtue. Okay, you guys can't see it from here. As you can see, she is very patient. She is putting she's putting everything out on the line. She's waiting. She doesn't know if it's the right thing to do, if it's the wrong thing to do, but she knows that being patient is going to get her somewhere. She's the angel of love, the angel of peace, the angel of harmony. And you know what? That resonates with this whole reading, because you know what? With everything that is happening to you in your life, you're not going to get anything, you're not going to be balanced, I should say, without the patience, because the storm is coming. You're feeling it, you're sensing it, you're feeling something is about to happen. Though it didn't happen yet, it's far away from you. Because remember, just because you see that storm away from you doesn't mean that it's going to come. This funnel cloud can actually shift to this way or this way. It doesn't mean that it's coming towards you. So if it's not coming towards you, you don't have to worry about it. Don't put so much pressure on yourself, because most likely it's going to pass. It's going to pass. It's only going to create, more anxiety, worrying about your situation, worrying about where you're going, what you're doing in your life, and how you're going to find, you know, happiness. If you're apart from someone and that person hasn't called, or that person hasn't, you know, text or gave you some type of message that they still care, you know what? Anxiety is not going to make it happen any much quicker. I mean, if that person is meant to be in your life, okay, nothing is going to stop a union between you and this person. Remember that. But if you're putting anxiety into it, and if you're constantly worrying, you're only going to make yourself grow into like a full-blown anxiety attack. You can fall into depression, like I said, and it's a time when you have to get medical assistance. This is not somewhere where you want to go. So I highly recommend that you try to find the joy in yourself and the joy in your life, happiness, whatever it takes. I mean, you know, little things can make a big difference, but you can only be the one. You may not be a negative person, but if you're constantly looking at the glass half empty, it's always going to be half empty, and it may even look like it's empty when it's actually 3/4 full. You know what I mean? So, you know, don't put so much extreme energy on some type of situation if you're, you know, waiting for someone, or if you're hurting from someone, or if you're healing from someone. I mean, only you know your situation. Like I said, I'm trying to generalize this entire reading around everybody, so bear with me if I'm not calling out your situation completely, but you got the idea. So anxiety, and like I said, staying away from, you know, being hostile, not looking at so much of, you know, the negative of things, and you know, focusing on, you know, what that caring connection that you may have with someone that may come into your life. You know that you're meant to be loved. You deserve love. Like I said, this is never going to happen until you allow it, until you embrace it, until you welcome it in your life. And that only comes with patience. Patience. You know, and I know you can be saying, yeah, but that takes, like, you know, years, and, you know, I've been waiting for so many years. And, you know, putting all this negative doubt is not going to make it happen quicker. It's just going to make you more miserable, you know? So instead, try to embrace something different, you know, like, kind of like, create a new beginning in your life where you're not worrying anymore. You're not putting that pressure on yourself. And guess what? That person is going to come into your life. You know, only you can do it. Dating sites work wonderful for many people, okay? Maybe you may not, you know, maybe it may not work for you. Maybe it may work for you. I hope you found this video helpful. I will be posting more videos on a weekly basis. If you would like a personalized reading, you can go to my website. The links will be down below. And also, you can check out my other videos on YouTube. I have many of them with Soulmates, Twin Flames. I have the Q&A videos. They're all listed in my channel. You can subscribe if you're new to my channel. Also, if you like my video, I appreciate if you can give me the thumbs up. And I'd like to know your thoughts. And also, if you do have a question, you're more than welcome to just post it down in the comments section, and I will get to it as quick as I can. And until next time, God bless and namaste.